Meandering. It's about following a winding course. It's not about straight lines, deadlines, and agendas. It's about going with the flow. There is a destination, and it's about getting there. Eventually. That to me sounds very much like going for a ride. Who in their right minds would say no to a ride bang in the middle of a working week? So, let's take in the day for meandering around the hills on the new 42 bobber. Why? Well, they say 3 is the crowd, 2 is company, but 1 rhymes with fun. Is it though? There's only one way to find out. This is the second bobber from the House of Java, and in a way, it's here to apply the learnings from the Perak. Everything that we felt was missing on the Perak or the standard 42, for that matter, seems to have been addressed on this one, the 42 bobber. So let's begin with the engine. Yeah, it wears the 42 badge, but the engine on this one is that of the Peraks. So you get a bigger motor than you do on a standard 42. On paper, the Perak and the Java 42 bobber are the same. 334cc, single cylinder, liquid cooled, 30 PS, 32 Nm, and even a 6-speed gearbox. However, the familiarity ends there, because Java has tinkered with the fuel mapping and has given the 42 bobber a slip and assist clutch. Hence, the lever action on the 42 bobber feels light, which is super useful in the city while crawling through traffic. That said, while the new fuel mapping is evident and the throttle is crisper, it's still not as tractable as we'd like. You still end up working the gearbox a bit through the slow stuff, but compared to my time with the Yazdi motorcycles, which use the same engine, this feels a bit more accommodating. Yes, meandering is on my mind, but bobbers have traditionally been about having fun, and in that sense, the peaky and revvy nature of this engine does not disappoint. True, it's no corner carver, but blasting down the highway at speeds over 100 kmph is effortless. I wish the engine didn't sound as clattery and busy. Yes, Java has managed to soften the engine's chatter when compared to some of its other siblings, but it still feels a little thrashy. It takes away from your chill riding experience while meandering. A little more finesse in the engine refinement levels, that definitely would have been a welcome. Javas aren't really known for sharp handling, leave alone a long wheelbase bobber like this one. The 42 bobber may not be the most agile in that side-to-side motion around corners, but Java has retuned the suspension internals for sportier handling. But keep in mind, while riding over smooth tarmac is quite enjoyable, riding over undulations changes the experience considerably. The front fork is fairly pliant and soaks up the bumps pretty well. But the 7-step preload adjustable monoshock is set to the firmer side and still tosses the rider a fair bit in the saddle. While it's not too harsh at slow speeds, but hit a bump at anything over 50 kmph and the kickback gets sharper. I like the brakes on the 42 bobber. It doesn't feel grabby or too sharp. In fact, it has a very progressive bite. I never felt unsettled under heavy braking. You get a 280mm disc at the front and a 240mm disc at the rear, and dual-channel ABS is offered as standard. Also, this is one of those nicer ABS systems I have worked with of late. It's not overtly intrusive, and the pushback on the lever isn't as heavy as on other bikes in this segment.
Feels so good to be me. From the streets to the GOAT. Yeah,
From afar, it may be hard to distinguish between the Jawa 42 bobber and the Jawa Perak, but as you get closer, the changes become less subtle. This one gets a new 13-litre fuel tank borrowed straight from the ESD Roadster, which means you get these knee recesses to cling on to while hustling the motorcycle around corners. To amplify the 42 bobber's sportier look further, Jawa has redesigned the rear fender and the taillight assembly. While the Perak gets an under-seat taillight, the 42 bobber features a tail-mounted unit. Even the exhaust tips are finished differently for that extra sense of something new. But on the 42 bobber, form also meets function. See, one of the biggest complaints about the Perak was its rider triangle. It was a bit awkward. Taller riders found the low seat height and slightly rear footrests on the Perak a bit too cramped. So, to fix the problem, Jawa has revised the ergonomics on the 42 bobber. What they've done is they've moved the footrest 155mm ahead, raised the handlebars with the help of razors, and most importantly, given it an adjustable seat. The 42 bobber gets a revised seat which allows for 30mm of adjustability. By loosening 2 screws, the seat can be moved forwards or backwards to suit your height better. So taller riders will not struggle with this bike as much. Even the seat pan has been redesigned and features new cushioning, which is on the softer side. That said, I'm about 5 feet 9 inches tall, and even at its forward-most setting, I find reaching for the handlebars a bit of a stretch. Not a deal breaker, just an observation. Now it is in this department that you'll find the 42 bobbers finally stepping out of the Perak's shadow. While the Perak takes its retro theme a bit too seriously, the 42 bobber decides to take a more modern approach. It gets LED lighting, a digital instrument cluster, a handlebar mounted USB port. The works. Honestly, I'm okay with what's on offer, but not having the option for Bluetooth connectivity or even simple turn-by-turn navigation just limits my desire to meander further and further. Know what I mean? The fit and finish levels of all these components do not disappoint, and the quality of plastics is pretty good too. But if I were to complain, readability on the LCD console, especially under harsh light, is simply poor. And now we're left with one final question. Should you buy the 42 bobber? Unfortunately, the answer is not as straightforward and will require some meandering before we reach a conclusion. See, when you're talking about motorcycles like the 42 bobber or even the Perak, you need to think more from the heart than you do from the head. A single-seat motorcycle, it's hardly ever practical in the real world. Well, unless you're one of those Fosla kinds. See, you don't buy one to blend in. You buy one to stand out. In fact, I know a few people within my own circle who did buy the Perak for that very reason. One of them is a serving member of the armed forces, and they got one, well, to escape that cliche of buying a Royal Enfield. Is it the most exciting? Maybe not. Could the 42 bobber have been better? Certainly. But here's the catch. At 2.09 lakh ex showroom, it costs the same as a Jawa Perak. And for the same money, by buying this, you get more colors, better ergos, a friendlier engine, and modern hardware. So, if you have the heart for it, go for it.